A big call to make. CNN announces that we call Florida in the Al Gore column. This is a state both campaigns desperately wanted to win.
Stand by. CNN right now is moving our earlier declaration of Florida back to the too close to call column. 25 very big electoral votes. George Bush, governor of Texas, will become the 43rd president of the United States.
The vice president has recalled the governor and retracted his concession.
Starting with election night in 2000, it was clear that the media's influence would have a direct impact on the outcome of the election, while damaging the nation's trust in their own voting system, even announcing candidate George W. Bush's victory before the polls had closed. It was as if they did not want to accept that the election had no end that night.
In the year 2004, please, could you make up your minds a little more conclusively? Because I think we can't take another election like this one.
Candidate Al Gore's night was filled with ups and downs, due to mixed messages released by the networks. The candidates and the American people were struggling to keep up until it was announced that a recount would begin in Florida due to Bush's lead of only 1,784 votes that was not large enough to conclude the election. The press was everywhere during the 36-day election, but was more focused on entertainment rather than assuring the voters of the fate of their ballots. Protests ensued, like the Brooks Brothers riot, where news coverage within a ballot recount office attributed to the recount's end, leaving thousands of votes uncounted.
I feel like it's quite hostile here, and I'm getting increasingly anxious.
It's enough recounts. We already had an election and we have recounts. But how many more recounts is going to need for Mr. Gore to win 25,000? If this one doesn't win, what's going to be another?
The election changed our country's political dynamic forever, between parties and between the people and the government.
Once this election is over, I would be glad to meet with Vice President Gore. And I join him in pledging that regardless of who wins, after this weekend's final count, we will work together to unite our great country.
Not to negotiate, but to improve the tone of our dialogue in America. We should both call on all of our supporters to respect the outcome of this election, whatever it may be.
Skepticism of the election continued to grow due to unusual butterfly ballots that were difficult to decipher, as well as
the hanging chad on the back. It may read one time as no vote and then a second time as a vote.
The hanging chad may have become a national joke, but the truth of the matter was outdated voting methods and inefficient ballots. The public questioned why there was no universal way of voting, but were too divided to resolve these issues in order to prevent similar future elections.
We have people who are not supervisors of election employees handling ballots. We have people shuffling ballots around like they're playing cards. We have people bending ballots. We have Chad starting to fall out on the tables over there.
That's absolutely false. I've been out there personally monitoring the circumstance, and the people are well trained. They receive their instruction on how to go about the recount.
Gore's popular vote lead of 540,000 was meaningless due to the Electoral College. The public realized this traditional system could not resolve modern elections like 2000 and later in 2016 when Hillary Clinton lost in the same way. The election reached the U.S. Supreme Court, where the nation's votes were no longer the sole factor in its outcome. The case of Bush v. Gore was a 5-4 majority, and just like that, it was over, and George W. Bush became the 43rd president. One thing that the American people could agree on was that they no longer trusted their democratic process that proved itself to be unreliable.